All right, everyone. It is good to be back. I have not streamed in 6 weeks, 5 weeks. Hey, Randy House. Randy House is in the house. My comments are not populated. My comments are not showing up on LinkedIn. Where am I at? Hmm. That's because I'm on Kelly's live, not mine. There it is. All right, man. I had all these comments showing up, and they were not. Anyway, here they come. All right, so I'm back, y'all. Thanks, Dan. Uh, it's good to see everybody, man. People are are already showing up, saying hi in the comments. Gabe Leal is here. What's going on? Mary Hayes is here. Julie Griffin is here. Uh, Randy House is here, catching us over on Kelly's page. Dan Roth is here. He's being nice right now. I'm sure there'll be something snarky said here in a little bit. Yes, Julie, the beard is back. Finally. And I'm excited to be back. Y'all, like I have missed streaming. It took everything in my willpower not to stream during my time off. Um, I did do a pop-up a couple weeks ago, just very briefly, just for the hell of it. Um, yeah. So anyway, we got lots of folks already showing up. So my guest tonight, I have spent the last 20, 30 minutes backstage talking to, and I cannot wait to bring her out. She's a fellow Texan. She is an Aggies fan. She lives 2 hours from me, probably, real close. So there's a meetup in the future for sure. Hey, Shree, Fiona. Sorry, y'all. I'm scrolling out on these comments. They're coming in faster than I can look at them. Holly, my number one fan right there over on Twitch, joining us. Dusty is here. Here's Dusty. There she is. All right, I'm gonna bring Kelly out before I scroll out on these comments too much. What is going on, Kelly?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm awesome.
Good. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
I'm excited. Let's get
Yeah,
rolling.
let's get rolling. So you post a lot of nutrition related stuff, but like we were talking, yeah, I gotta love Texas Tree. So just heads up, I tend to squirrel out on the comments a little bit. I'll try to stay focused and not interrupt you once you get to talking. Um, you are a nutritionist, but like we were talking backstage, like you've got a pretty cool past on how you got into it and kind of the things you did before you had kids and moved overseas and all that. So just kind of tell us a little bit about um, how it started and then take us into how you got into being a nutritionist and what all you did and then talk about what you do in your one-to-one coaching.
Okay. As far as my career, I started out as a dental hygienist, and I actually went to TJC, Tyler Junior College, not far from you in Jacksonville.
That's 30 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my old stomping ground. But
Okay.
yeah, and they were at that time they were one of the premier dental hygiene schools because what makes it a premier school of any type is if the people that go to school there and then they take their licensing tests and you have a very high percentage that pass the very first time, they had 100% passing rate for years and years and years. That's kind of like when you're an attorney and you're taking the bar exam, and they'll decide, what law schools are best because of how many are prepared well for the bar exam and how many pass it the first time, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that was done. I don't know where they are now. I think it must still be pretty good because they have a much bigger organization
Mm-hmm.
with UT
Mm-hmm.
Tyler there. But at any rate, started out there, practiced dental hygiene for 13 years, um, put my husband through college on my income there. He was in the military when we first married. And as we were talking about before, I practiced in Texas, California, Oklahoma, and in Okinawa, Japan. And that's because we moved around a bunch when he was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't practice on a military base. I was in private practice. So I was not in the military myself. I did, though, practice on a military base for a short time in California during Desert Storm, during the time when they were deploying people for Desert Storm.
Okay.
And that was interesting. And then, but I practiced in Okinawa, Japan. As a dental hygienist, I volunteered because we have a special agreement. United States has a special agreement with the Japanese people on that military base to provide certain number of jobs for the community there and dental
Hmm.
hygiene. But there weren't enough Japanese to fill the bill for that. So they wanted me to volunteer. And so I was like, okay, I'll volunteer. But I was doing specializing in periodontal treatment and at the time. And so I was like, I want those kinds of patients. But then I taught conversational English the rest of the time. And I made money, that way just in town and I made yen. So I didn't have to worry about the exchange rate. And
Hmm.
so that worked out really, really well. And I loved it because my students were women. They were all women and they set the rules. Nobody could speak Japanese. They could only speak English in the class. So that was awesome for me because then I could understand
Right.
everybody.
Right. Right.
And they wanted to find out all about me. And when I told them about Texas and how Texas is and how long it is to get it, because Okinawa, Japan is little bitty. I mean, it's like 1 mile is the longest part.
Right.
And there's
Yeah.
lots of people there, but it's teeny tiny. And, but they were just so sweet and they would bring little snacks. And I found out that if you eat all of whatever it is they gave you, they're going to bring you another one. So if you didn't like it, don't eat it all. Just leave a little bit. Just, oh, I'm so full, and they don't bring you another. But if you eat it all, they're going to bring you another one. And if you didn't like it very much, so one time that happened, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to take this to my husband. I'm going to let him try it. But I'm a very adventurous eater, so I liked all the food usually, and
Yeah.
I would always try it first, and then I would ask what it was, because sometimes there's things that people eat in other countries that wouldn't be normal, and so
Right.
so you go ahead and just try it, see what it's like, and then say, "Oh, what was this?" And "Oh, that was pig tongue." Okay.
Pig tongue. Yay. Yeah. No.
That didn't have much flavor. I don't think I'll try that again.
Oh.
It was very funny. But and then we moved back to the United States. He was a student at Texas A&M University. Whoop. And
Whoop.
then um, and I practiced dental hygiene and supported our family and put him through school. He had some military help too, but it didn't pay for everything. And so and then he finished his schooling and we had our child and I stayed home with her for a number of years. And then during that time that I was pregnant with my child, I found out I had carpal tunnel problems. My hands started going numb from the
Hmm.
swelling during pregnancy, which is not uncommon, but my
Hmm.
hands started going numb. And then that came back after I had her. Of course, my feeling in my hands came back, but I decided then that I would not go back to practicing dental hygiene after, because I thought I would always go back after we had finished having children and they were in school and stuff. I'd go back
Right.
part time, but I had decided I wouldn't do that because I didn't want to work myself into a disability. So then I started looking for
Hmm.
things that were science based, that were clinical, that could use my science background, and I wouldn't lose that. And dietetics was perfect. So I could go to, at that time we were living in the Dallas area, I could go to UT Southwestern, which is a very premier medical center. They have a fantastic medical school. They have a network of hospitals.
So
Yes,
let
sir.
me ask you this: being an Aggie or married to an Aggie, what was that like going to UT?
Well, it wasn't, it's UT
I mean, I
Southwestern.
know it's I know it's not officially
Not the same.
not quite the same,
Not the
but
same as the one in Austin. Yeah.
it's still burnt orange and white, isn't it?
No,
No.
no, it's blue and white. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they weren't owned by UT in the beginning. And so they
Ah.
kept their same colors and stuff. And there's
Okay.
no sports teams there. It's just a graduate school. I shouldn't say just a graduate school. It's a graduate school. It's a very premier
Okay.
graduate school. They don't have any
Okay.
undergrad anything there. It's all
Gotcha.
graduate school stuff. And so it was like they have a
Gotcha.
medical school. They have a doctorate in physician assistant or doctorate, I'm sorry, in physical therapy. Then they have a physician assistant program and they have the clinical dietetics program. That may
Hmm.
be it. I don't remember. No, there's a prosthodontics also
Okay.
graduate school there too. But at any rate, it's just all medically related stuff.
Okay.
And but it was awesome. It's an awesome school. We had fantastic instructors, so it was really good. And I was one of 4 ladies that were over 40 in that program at that point. Everybody else was, normal age for going to college. And there were 4 of us that were over 40. And of course, we've kept in touch. And now I'm way over 40. So I've been in healthcare. I've been working in healthcare for 35 years now.
Okay.
I
I'm
started
not
when I was 10.
way over 40. Yeah, but Holly Campolongo will tell you that I am an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I became a dietitian, and I practiced in high-risk pregnancies, for ladies, and with kidney disease folks in dialysis, and then also in other stages before they reach dialysis. Also the private practice in a dietetics practice, where we took care of a variety of things. And nursing homes, I've done contract to go into nursing homes. I've done different types of contract work, that kind of thing. So, and then now I have my own practice. I've been doing that for a couple of years. So I have my own practice, but I've done public speaking also. And I've been doing public speaking since about 2003. I wasn't a dietitian back then. I didn't become a dietitian until 2010. And back then I was teaching about personalities. So I was teaching people how to detect what the dominant personality for someone is. And for me, because I had a clinical background, I was teaching other clinicians how to figure that out so that they would know how to approach them. And and whenever they had to tell them about a diagnosis or whatever, and give them instruction on something, they would know how to approach them. So if we approach people where they are, which as a healthcare professional, that's my job, to approach you where you are, not to make you adjust to me. I need to adjust to you.
Right.
So, so that was perfect. And so then you can kind of tell if somebody needs what they need. I teach them about what are the primary needs of that particular personality type. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And I also teach it in a team building type form, also amongst people that work together. So that if I know what your dominant personality is and you know what mine is, then I know what your strengths and weaknesses and your needs are. And I'm going to try to meet your needs, and you're going to try to meet mine, so that we can all work together like little puzzle pieces that work together. And so it makes it easy for the whole thing to come together as a cohesive mix. So that's the idea. But I do a lot more speaking on nutrition topics now, and I do a lot of continuing education courses and that kind of thing. So I teach on that kind of thing often, and then the one-on-one coaching that I do now is I have clients all over the United States. So yeah, I do.
Isn't that the beautiful thing about the age we live in? Like, I'm trying to explain this stuff to my granddad. Of course, he's 87, I think. He's 87, fixing to be 88 in January, or 86, fixing to be 87. I don't remember. So try and explain live streaming to him, and then how I can produce for anybody anywhere in the world from right here in Jacksonville, Texas. It's like so mind blowing to him, I mean, and he gets on the internet, ma'am.
It's a paradigm shift.
It's a paradigm shift for sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Fiona had a question for you. Any experience with Parkinson's?
Not specific as in, most of it's been diabetes or high blood pressure and cholesterol and weight loss and, that kind of thing. I am familiar with Parkinson's and some things that are done with Parkinson's, but that wasn't a specialty niche.
Okay. Cool. She said that's how I feel when someone explains crypto. I know, right? Just like
oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
There's a lot of health problems out there that come back to nutrition. I think it's interesting how one of the things, and I've made a post about it before, and some people may remember it, but about krill oil, KRILL, krill oil. and
Mhm.
it helps to bring down cholesterol. It's no omega-3. It's heart healthy, but it brings down cholesterol. My own personal experience with it, my husband's cholesterol was over 300. And well, it worked up to that. It was 200 some odd, and he wasn't telling me about it. And then
Of course not.
he didn't tell me. And he told the doctor, no, I don't want to be on medicine. My wife's a dietitian. She can help me. And then he didn't tell me. Okay. So until it got over 300, I got scared. And so then
Yeah.
he started telling me about it. And I was like, well, let's just get you on krill oil. You don't need to get on a statin. There's a lot of people that are on statins. Now, statins work, but they also have a lot of side effects. And one of the
Mhm.
things that they do is they kill the mitochondria in our muscle cells. The mitochondria are the energy producers in our muscle cells.
Mhm.
Some people will have pain, muscle pain. Now, even if you're not having muscle pain, it's still happening.
Mhm.
So, what we can do is you can start on a krill oil, and then after the cholesterol comes down some, then your doctor will be like, oh, you don't need to be on the statin anymore. And then they take you
Mhm.
off of it. And then you're okay. But krill oil works gradually. It takes, a few months to use it, but it doesn't give you fish burps. Who wants to take,
Oh,
who
yeah,
wants,
no.
and a fish tastes in their mouth. So it doesn't give you fish burps, but it works much more efficiently than just regular oil fish oil.
Yeah.
So it's
And does
good
it
in
work? Sarah had a quick question. Does that work on both HDL or LD cholesterol?
there. Uh-huh.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. HDL cholesterol is your if you are involved in cardiovascular type exercise, that will go up. That actually goes up, which is kind of,
Hmm.
but it's true. It'll make it, and you want the HDL to come up. It's the good
Okay.
cholesterol, and then the LDL and the low the lower one you don't. Well, it's a lipid one.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than getting into all the technical terms, I won't bore you. Anyway. Um,
So what
so
does it look like working with you? Like as a one-on-one coach? What
what
kind of
I do
stuff do you?
is when people
Yeah,
say,
tell us.
"Hey, I want to find out about things," so what we do is they schedule an appointment, and it's a HDL is happy. Yes, I like that, Holly. It's the happy cholesterol. But what they do is they schedule an appointment, and I call it an interest call, where I do a health assessment for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then we find out what they need, and then I make recommendations accordingly. So I ask them
Mm-hmm.
some health questions. I ask them about things about sleep, about how they eat, blah blah blah, and if they have any allergies, if they're what medications they're on, etc. And so then I make recommendations along, accordingly that would work for them. And then they can tell me whether they think that's going to work or not. And if they don't think that's going to work, then we went, we part as friends. And if they want to go ahead and get rolling, then we get rolling.
So what does it look like when they start rolling with you? Like how long does someone typically work with you?
It depends on what they need.
Okay.
If they're losing 100 and some odd pounds, it's going to take some months. It's probably going to be, typically people lose around 10 pounds a month with me, which is excellent. You don't do that at Weight Watchers necessarily. You
Mm-hmm.
can, but most people don't. And people are like, oh, that's a lot at one time. Well, at first, that's typical and that's the average. You start out, you lose a lot more water weight in the beginning. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why you lose water weight in the beginning is because one, we don't do the extra sodium, and two, and that reduces your water weight. And
Mm-hmm.
then for every pound of carbohydrate you eat, you have to have 3 pounds of water on board to digest it and store it. And so you have a lot more water weight when you're eating high carb. We don't realize that we eat a lot of high carb normally. So what we do is we balance out the protein, carb, and the fat so that we have better macronutrient level in there. And when that happens and we keep the blood sugar steady, even if you're not diabetic, it doesn't matter. We still got to look at the blood sugar. And so keep the blood sugar steady, and that helps your body start burning the fat and preserving the muscle. That's very important. Preserve the muscle. and burn the fat, because a lot of things out there, sure, you get rid of the fat, but that also you get rid of some muscle, and we don't want that, especially as we get older. Because we
Mm-hmm.
get into our 40s, 50s, 60s. If we're losing muscle, then that's going to make it harder when we're in our 80s and 90s to transfer simply from a chair to a couch to a bed to a toilet or whatever. And that
Mm-hmm.
affects your life. So that's why we want to keep that muscle
Mm-hmm.
and keep it toned and that kind of thing. But I don't handle the exercise piece of it. I handle the nutrition piece of it. And then I let people figure out what they would like to do for exercise. And we
Mm-hmm.
talk, and I know some things about it and I can give some advice about it, but I'm not the person to come to for your workout plan.
Right.
I do the nutrition piece. And you've heard it said 80% of it is nutrition, 20% of it is exercise. There's a lot of people that come to me, they've been working their tails off, exercising, trying to lose weight, and it's not going anywhere. And then we just do a little tweaking um, on their nutrition piece, and they start losing the fat. And they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize, you know? So, and it's easy. I make it easy. People need to live, you know?
Yeah.
You can't be on a strict, and it's not a diet. What I do is not a diet. It's a program.
Mm-hmm.
So 75% of what I do is mindset change. 25% of it is nutrition.
Yeah.
So it's a huge, what we've always done, our habits we've always done, and um, we've grown up with rewarding ourselves with food and,
Right.
rather than things and that kind of thing. Not that we can't, not that we can never have, grandma's, you know, cheesecake or whatever,
Right.
and
Right.
we're eating healthy. But in general, if you're eating healthy 90% of the time, you're winning. You're winning.
Yeah.
You know, you just, it's something, it's a different mindset. You're choosing to eat healthy. So there's not anything that's forbidden. You don't say, oh, I can't have that because I'm on this diet. No, you're not on a diet. You're simply eating healthy and you're choosing healthy things. And so we learn how to choose healthy things and how to tell ourselves that, because we beat ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to. We beat ourselves up. Oh my gosh, that was so horrible that I ate that whatever, or they did that
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But we talk a lot about how to handle our emotional side so that we're not, a lot of us people are emotional eaters. A lot of people are stress eaters. And we talk
Mm-hmm.
about what to do with that. What
I'm
type
a
of
bored
reward.
eater. Like I'm a
Huh?
stress eater and a bored eater.
Okay, yeah. Right. And we have like, we have a part in there where, we talk about your lizard brain, your Labrador brain, and your human brain.
Uh-huh.
And how you're processing. Are you just doing it instinctually? Or are
Uh-huh.
you doing it to make everybody happy?
Mm-hmm.
I made your favorite dessert. You need to eat this, whatever. And you weren't planning on having dessert.
So
Um,
look, I will never eat a dessert to make someone happy. That is 100% to make me happy.
well,
I promise you, you catch me eating a dessert, it's
excellent.
because I wanted to.
That's excellent. Well, you know what? Something else. You're going to die. But something else about that, your serotonin level, that pleasure center that we
Mm-hmm.
get from eating things that make us happy, right? After that third bite, it doesn't increase. It doesn't get any
Hmm.
better. So after bite one, at bite two, and bite three, after that, it's been scientifically proven. I'm just repeating it. Okay. That level does not get higher. So after that third bite, you're just eating to be eaten.
Yeah.
It's not. So your best bet is to take it slow, enjoy the aroma, put it around in your mouth, like, love every bite. Like if it's chocolate, I love chocolate
I do
and candy.
too. I love anything sweet, but
So, yeah.
chocolate is my
And so you
kryptonite,
want to
man. Like I'm
smell it, you want to put it in your mouth and really savor it, that kind of thing. And then, and you don't need as much of it. And when you're used to eating a proper portion amount, then less of it satisfies you. And that's another thing that we have to figure out. But it's
yeah.
gradual. It's not something you're just going to snap your fingers and do. It's not going to happen like that. But like I said, we work on mindset a lot more. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to? Why do I care whether I'm healthy or not? For a lot
Right.
of people, it's I want to be able to move and and do certain activities. I want to be able to play outside with my kids. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to jump on the trampoline without feeling like I'm having a heart attack with my
Mm-hmm.
kiddos, you know. Um, I want to be able to sit in an airplane without a seatbelt extender.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just all kinds of reasons that people give, you know, that I've heard. And some are real tearjerkers, and they'll tell me.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we're doing the interest call, people start crying because they tell me about some things
Mm-hmm.
that's really bothering them. And and you wouldn't think so, but career wise, it makes a difference career wise. And so they want to get to a healthy weight because they feel like it'll help them in their career. And when you're eating healthfully and you're nourishing your body the way you should, you think clearer. That brain fog
Mm.
goes. So you think clear. You have much more energy. You sleep better. You have more confidence. All those things make marriages better. I have married couples all the time tell me, "Oh my goodness, we're just, you know, our marriage is way better because we're getting healthier." I won't go into details.
Figure that out amongst yourselves. LinkedIn After Dark just got real interesting.
But I'm not a marriage
But it's
counselor.
no, but it's true. You're right.
But anyway, some people, you know, some people just get so excited about each other again that it's good. It's good. It's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So many jokes there.
I'm sorry, you're speechless. I'll have to think of something else to say. We need some as a noodle lover and bagel connoisseur. I definitely take the time to savor, but as a foodie, I can get lost in that decadent and aesthetic descent of food. I love it. Yeah, it's right.
For real.
We like to.
And I love the flavors of it. So it's not like I'm just, you know, it's not like when I'm eating a dessert or whatever I'm eating. Man, I just love the flavor of food. And I have
Yeah.
to really watch myself or I will overeat
Well,
the
I'm
hell out of some
only
stuff.
5'2", and I lost 50 pounds using this type of program that I'm helping people with. And it was just an efficient way to take care of it. And
Mm-hmm.
being only 5'2", 50 extra pounds on a 5'2" frame is a lot.
A lot.
I mean, it shows.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's seen my before pictures, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it for me, it came on
You're only
gradually.
5'2"?
I'm only 5'2".
See, I have this weird misconception with most people on LinkedIn because you see the larger than life personality, especially with you, like you're real bubbly and real outgoing. And you know, I don't know that I've seen pictures of you next to people. I don't guess I ever paid any attention to how short you were, but I have this larger than life personality, so you got to assume you're larger than life. You're tall.
Well, you can hear me. You can hear me really
You
well.
definitely can hear you. Yes.
That's kind of like at church, you know, people are like, "Oh, well, you're the talker and your husband's quieter." And I'm like, "Oh, but he can hold his own talking. You just can't hear him all the way across the room like he can me." You know, his voice is big, you know. So, and he doesn't laugh as loud as I do. So that's another thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, the whole thing's like, you know, oh, you've got the cake and it's kind of somebody cut it crooked. Well, I'm just going to straighten it up right here and eat this part, you
Yeah.
know. Or
Yeah.
if I'm standing while I'm eating the cookie, it doesn't count, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Or
You've grown up with that,
like
you know.
I'm terrible about if I'm gonna eat, you know, used to us like I would pig out on cookies. I don't buy cookies because I'll smash the bag. I have zero self-control. But it would be, you know, I'd go get 4 or 6, and that would be what I eat. But then I would grab another 2 to eat on the way back to the chair. But those didn't count because that's not the ones that are on my plate or in my paper towel, you know,
Right,
that I'm holding in my hand.
right, exactly, yeah. So those are things that when we talk about mindset and the different things that we do, that we we have strategies on how to handle that. And then you get to where it's not an issue anymore. It's not a battle anymore. Like there's some foods that I just don't. I've maintained my 50-pound weight loss for 2.5 years.
Mm,
And I'm in the same size that I wore when I was 22 and got married to my husband.
nice.
And I'm 56 years old. I'm past menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And I've helped a lot of clients past menopause. And we've all been told, once you're past menopause, you're just going to have extra pounds. That's just the way it is. Well, that's not what we found. And then I have some people that say, oh, I don't want to get down to whatever weight, whatever the number is, because I looked sick the last time I was there. I was like, well, that's because when you lost it, you lost muscle.
Right.
This, you're not going to lose muscle.
Right.
So you're going to look different. And so it's interesting how that changes, how that works. And so I get a lot of questions about all these different types of diets. And I'm like, no. We're eating healthy. It's not a diet. We're just choosing to eat healthy. And you can choose not to eat healthy if you want to, and it's okay. But you're going to learn
right.
yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So you learn how to control it. You learn how to stop. You learn how to take a breath and say, do I really want this? I mean, there's just some things that we do to change that mindset to make it, and then that becomes a way of life, and you're not bothered by it. So it's not a battle. So, and your taste buds change. Being as a former dental hygienist, this is true. Your taste buds change. And so as you eat healthier foods, the unhealthy foods don't taste as good anymore. And I know,
I noticed.
Yeah, right, whatever. But it's true.
No, you're right. So about 3 weeks ago now, probably, I started trying to eat a little bit healthier. I'd eat like a salad with some steak on, because I got to have meat on my salad. Otherwise, I got to have something in there that's not going to disappear after 30 minutes. Yeah. So I will do like skirt steak on it or something, and eating that for lunch. I used to get a candy bar every day after lunch. There's a gas station right there. Worst thing in the world when we moved into this building, because it is like a 2-minute walk there and back.
Right.
So I'd eat a candy bar every day at lunch. If I was up here at night doing a stream or doing client calls or whatever, it would be 2 candy bars, because I'd run over there and get another candy bar to tide me over till supper. And then started trying to make healthier choices for dinner too. So I went 2 weeks without a candy bar, and it was on a Friday. I know, it's like, you have no idea how big of a deal that is. I walked over there and I got a candy bar, and it did not taste as good as they used to.
Yeah.
And so now I eat 1 candy bar a week. This week I've already eaten 1, but I might have eaten 2 already. What's today? I don't remember. Anyway,
that's huge.
Just 1 this week.
Yeah, 1 candy bar a week, 1 every single day, or sometimes 2.
1. Yeah. Compared to 5 to 7, 8 a week.
Right. Yeah. And 2, something else we talk about as far as, because food prices are going up.
Okay. For sure, man.
And so we talk about how to have a better food budget, and how to eat high nutrient value foods, and not buy the junk that's just empty calories and not really helping us. And so when we trim out the junky type stuff, or at least don't get as much of it, then we can have room for the non-starchy veggies, the proteins, all that. And so then we have more money for that. And then it's foods that we actually, one of my daughter's roommates in college said, when I go home, there's plenty of food. It's just disguised as ingredients. You have to make it. You have to make it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Regular, ready to go.
Exactly.
Disguised as ingredients. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's disguised, and that was my problem. Like, I go home and I wouldn't meal prep. I wouldn't do anything. I'd get home at, if I was up here late at night till 8 or 8:30, and I'd go home and I'd be like, man, I don't want to cook anything. So I'd make
Aaron said, did you see that? Aaron Mangum
need a salad in exchange for whatchamacallit.
Yeah, it is. And I saw somebody's comment earlier where they were saying, that, changing our mindset, the way that we look at things, that, makes all the difference. And it really does. That's what makes it stick. When I'm helping people with what I do, that's why 75% of it is mindset change. Because if we can change the way we think about things and the way we talk to ourselves and the way that we reward ourselves, and then we win, and then down the road, then we're maintaining these new healthy habits. And
Mm-hmm.
the more we practice them, it's just like learning a sport. You're not going to be good at it in the very beginning. You're going to make mistakes,
Right.
but once you get practice at it and you get better and better at it, then it's easier and easier. And just like you have muscle memory for sports, you kind of have that in your head for foods and
Mm-hmm.
preferences too. So that makes a difference. And then how you handle yourself with stress, when we're stress eaters
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, how do we handle stress? Well, there's other ways to handle stress. And if we're not getting enough
Right.
sleep, I talk to a lot of people that they're maybe getting 5 hours of sleep a night, maybe.
No, I
Um,
can't do it.
And a lot of people get rid of their CPAP machines.
Really?
When after they've worked with me a while and lost some weight, they don't need the CPAP machine anymore. And so they
Mm-hmm.
can breathe better and sleep better, and their partner can sleep better because the machine didn't go on the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing that's awesome. It's another thing that helps marriages.
Right. Being able to sleep in the same room, in the same bed.
It's helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all those things factor in. Are you getting enough rest? How are
Right.
you handling stress? Are you in a really stressful situation? I worked at a place for a short number of months. I had a supervisor that wasn't very good at managing things, and she stressed me out big time. And I was really trying to accommodate her, but she stressed me out big time. So, and I began to have heart palpitations. And I don't have any issues. I don't have heart problems. I don't have blood pressure problems. I don't have any of that stuff. And it was just stress. So I stopped working there and went on and did something else. And it went away. And so, but there's a lot of people that are in jobs that are doing them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then they get on medication and they get on all this other stuff. And in reality, there's a more organic way to take care of it. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I don't recommend a lot of fancy supplements to people. I want them to get their nutrients from food.
Yep. That's what I've heard too. Always heard too is if you're eating right, you really don't need to take vitamins.
And it kind of depends. Now, vitamin D is an exception. I talk about krill oil. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin D is an exception. And I think I was telling you earlier that I do a continuing education class. It's a 3-hour class just on vitamin D. There's a lot of information on vitamin D.
Yeah, you were telling me
It's one
about
of my
that.
things. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So,
Yeah.
but vitamin D is awesome. And it helps people, it helps the immune system get stronger. But you have to have it at a higher level in the bloodstream. The vitamin D amount that we should have in our bloodstream should be anywhere from 32 to 100. It's a big range. But what you want to be is right around the 50, 60s range of
Mm-hmm.
in your blood, so that you have the immune system protection and you have cancer protection.
Mm-hmm.
Because vitamin D is involved in the RNA cycle when the cells are replicating. And if you don't have enough vitamin D, then those cells are not replicating properly. And if they don't replicate properly, they're more likely to mutate and have a problem down the road. And, that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
The vitamin D, of course, helps with bones and that type of thing, but it doesn't take very much vitamin D to help with that. But it does help older people, like in nursing homes. When I was contracting helping with nursing homes, I would make sure that everybody was on 5,000 IU vitamin D every day because it helps keep them from being so frail.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking bones, breaking the hip or whatever, it helps to keep that from occurring. So, that's something else. And then so vitamin D does a lot of awesome things. It helps reduce the cancer rates. When we look at the United States map, people that have less sunlight have higher cancer rates. And they
Really?
have autoimmune disease rates.
Hmm.
And it's because of the vitamin D. So if you have more vitamin D, and the supplements are not expensive, and
Right.
so if you have more vitamin D, then you have less likelihood of those things. I can't guarantee, but you have less likelihood of those things occurring.
Yeah.
Number one reason, one of the number one reasons for breast cancer for women is not a lot of other reasons that have people, hormonal reasons and stuff like that. It's just being over fat. And I would just, rather than saying overweight, I'm just going to say over fat, because that's what it is. Having more
Right.
adipose tissue on your body than you need.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a high rate of that in the Southeast. And it's because of our diet in the
Mm-hmm.
Southeast. In the Deep South, we have a lot of fried things. We have a lot of,
Everything's fried.
a high carb and high fat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, heart disease. One of the things about heart disease that increases heart disease is triglycerides being high. Well, there's only two things that cause triglycerides to be high. One is high fat baked goods like pastries, muffins, breads, things like that, and alcohol. That's it. Those two things. So recently I spoke at a conference and in Dallas, and a man came up to me afterward. He said, I've got high blood sugar, and I've got diabetes, and I have this continuous monitor that I wear. And he was showing me on his phone, his blood sugar goes up when he takes his medicine. And I said, well, why does it go up when you take your medicine? Well, I drink milk with the medicine. I mean, milk makes your blood sugar go up, by the way. And I was like, well, milk makes your blood sugar go up. He said, yeah, I know, but I'm not giving up my milk because I've already given up bourbon and Coke. A1C went down from 10 point something to 7.3 when I gave up my bourbon and Coke. So I've already done that, and I'm not giving up my milk. And so I gave him some ideas of what he could do to help keep that carbohydrate in the milk from shooting his blood sugar up so much. Because if you balance things with protein, and milk is supposed to be balanced with protein, but I think it's because the way it's processed, it still shoots blood sugar up high. So what you do is you balance it with some protein. And so we talked about some different things he could do to have some protein along with his milk, his favorite thing, and when he drinks that with his medicine. So he was like, okay, yeah, I think I can do that. He was a shorter guy. He was kind of round, buddy, you need my program. But he wasn't ready yet. That's a big thing that I tell people whenever they do contact me and they're wanting to explore the possibility of working with me. I just tell them, if you're not ready to really make a change, if you're not sick and tired of being sick and tired, then just wait till you are. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm not going to try to get you to do something and convince you that you need to do it. You need to already be convinced. And then you come to me and you say, hey, I need help. Please help me.
Right.
And we're ready to roll. I don't have any type of special technique of convincing people to work with me. I just tell them, hey, this is what you need. This is what I would recommend. And this is why. And if that sounds good to them, then we get going. And if it doesn't, then it's like, well, that's good. It was nice to meet you, And I have lots on LinkedIn. I have lots of men that come to me wanting their girlfriend or wife to be on program. Now, that's kind of a
that's some stuff. That's some tricky waters to navigate there.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting, I think. And most of the time, the wife or girlfriend is not on LinkedIn, so they haven't seen my posts. I'm also on Facebook, but I may not be connected with them.
Right.
So, I usually recommend and ask them if the wife is on Facebook, and if they are, then okay, well, I'll reach out to her, friend her, and then she can start seeing my posts. You can go to my post on my page. You can go to activity and click on post. You can see nothing but my post, and you can find them, and then you can show them to her and say, oh, wow, look at this. This is awesome. Look at all these people getting healthy with this person. Maybe we should talk to this lady together. I think to come together.
Right.
Because most of the time, both couples need help.
Right.
Both people in the couple need help. And maybe the wife needs more. Maybe she's got more to lose than the husband does, but both of them need to get healthy together anyway. So I just tell them both come to the call and we'll talk with both of you and we'll see what we can do for you together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can be supportive for one another.
Right.
And then when they both start having great energy and they're more confident and they're more happy with each other, then their marriage gets better.
Yeah.
And it's totally not.
And you did it all without throwing the husband under the bus for coming to you about his wife in the first place.
Exactly. Because I don't want him to say, honey, you need to lose weight. You need to talk to this lady. Because it's never going to work.
Right.
It's never going to work. Yeah.
Yeah,
And she's going to say, how do you know this lady?
Yeah, she can come in hating you. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that has happened. That has happened. I talked to a couple recently where the guy wanted to get on program with me and he wanted his wife to get on program too. She was not interested at all. And it was clear. I mean, she was over 100, needed to lose 100 pounds. But she told me, I'm healthy. Except for the fact that I have diabetes, I'm healthy. I was like, well, that's great. I don't think you're ready for this program. And when you're ready for the program, come see me. But when you're not, it's okay. Because
if you want to keep lying to yourself, that's okay, lady. But
yeah, but I don't tell her that. Yeah.
No, I know.
But yeah. I mean, it's just some people are ready and some people aren't, and they're just not ready. Then, it's just, to me, is it okay if I use a scripture reference?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Parable of the soils.
Uh-huh.
When you're spreading the seed and it falls on the rocky ground and then it falls on the thorns and then it falls on the good soil. Mm-hmm. And some people are resistant. It's the rocky ground. Mm-hmm. It's not going to take root. They're not interested. And then you got the ones that that are in the thorny ground and they're interested, but then they get distracted by all the other stuff that's going on in their lives and they just don't stay committed and they just don't stick with
all the chocolate.
Yeah. And then you've got the ones that falls on the good soil. But if you'll notice what happens with the sower of that seed, they put it everywhere. Mm-hmm. They're prolific. They put it everywhere and they don't let them worry them where it falls. Mm-hmm. And then they let it either takes root or it doesn't, and you go on. And so that can be applied to a lot of things. But that's what I feel like. I feel like some people their soil is ready. Yeah. Some people still have thorns and their soil's not quite ready yet. Some people got to get rid of the rocks before they're ready. And that's not something I can't get rid of your rocks. But when you're ready, let's talk about it.
Yeah. And isn't that the case with a lot of things in life? Not just like, in that verse in the Bible, it's talking about specifically the word.
Right.
But that's really the case with anything in our lives. It's going to improve us.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Not just weight loss, but it could be anything,
Right. We have to be ready. We have to be ready to take action and do something about it. And there's a lot of things that are not easy. Mm-hmm. And we've accomplished them anyway. Right. I've had people come to me and they've stopped drinking and they've stopped drugs and now they need to lose weight. And I'm like, buddy, if you can do that, you can do this. Because that's a much bigger deal. I mean, sugar is an addictive thing, okay?
Very,
but
yep.
Not as bad as cigarettes. Cigarettes are very addictive. Not as bad as cigarettes, not as bad as alcohol, not as bad as cocaine or heroin. Right. So, it's like, if you can overcome that, for Pete's sake, you can do this other thing. You've already shown that you can overcome. So it's that's one of the things that has come through. But anyway, somebody said, no, not bourbon and Coke.
Yeah, I know. Ro said that. He had another question for you too. When your experience usually makes a person ready.
What makes them ready? There's a lot of different things that make people ready. That's a good question though, Ro. What I find, because I talk to people about why do they, that first appointment, I'm asking them, why do you want to do this? How is this going to be once you get to whatever weight you want to get to, whatever it is? Because they get to choose. I can look at my BMI scale and say, well, for your height, you should probably weigh around this in this range. But I let them pick. whatever they want to choose as their goal weight. That's what we do. But usually what happens if they pick something higher than as when they find out how easy it is and how much better they feel, they decide to go on down to, what is considered really a healthy weight. And they never realized they could do that. They just didn't realize it was possible. And, but usually it's like one of my clients, he's had three heart procedures done. And he didn't want to he was afraid he wouldn't make it through another heart procedure. And he's got a daughter that is the world to him and his wife. And he wants to be able to see her get married and he wants to be around the grandkids and he wants to do, whatever. And he's not very old, but I mean, it's like, he's like, I did this to myself and I need to fix it. And he'd already come a long way before he came to me. So, it's just amazing what he's done. I mean, that mindset changes everything. Yeah. For him. And he's convincing other people. He's like referring them and stuff, but he's convincing other people and they're like, oh my goodness, you're right. But he does a great job. And so that's just what makes people ready is usually they have their own reasons. I mean, some people it's, like before we were talking about, sometimes it's, they just realize that, wow, I want to have a better relationship with my spouse, or maybe I want to do this or that, whatever it is. Because when you start eating healthy, your blood vessels open up and you have better circulation. Okay. So when you have better circulation all through your body, not only does your heart work better and your brain work better, but every organ system of your body works better, more efficiently. And that's part of the reason why you feel so much more energy and confidence, and you can sleep better because you're doing things during the day and, and able to rest in the evening and, that kind of thing. And we talk about what, will help you have a better night's sleep. What can you do? What kind of conditions to make it better? Some people need other things. Some people need to go talk to a physician about something else. And I tell them, if I can't help them, if they've got something going on, I will say, you know what? I don't think this program's going to work for you because I feel like you need X, Y, Z instead. And you need to get that taken care of first. And then we can talk about this because I think you need to take care of that. And so I don't take everybody. Right. Some people aren't ready. I can tell by the way they're answering the questions, they're really not that ready. Right. And then some people are, they may be ready later. I have had people talk to me. In fact, I've got a client right now. She contacted me a year ago, and she was mainly calling about her son and wanting him to, eat healthier and stuff. And so I was like, well, let me give you some information and you can practice this. And I didn't charge her anything. I just gave her some information at that call for that hour that we were talking. And I was like, you give that a try and see how that works. And of course, what I told her was going to help everybody in the family. And then a few months later, she asked me some other questions later. And then now she's decided to come on program with me for herself. And she's done great. She's been on with me for 3 months and she's lost 30 pounds. Yeah. And her son is eating healthier now too, because she's making healthier food for everybody in the family. And so he's eating healthier too. And he likes the healthy food, and so he's losing the pounds that he needs to lose because he's changing his habits also. And he's changing them. He's like 11, 12 years old and he's changing his habits now. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to be his habits for the rest of his life now because, he's not going to have to worry about it down the road. Right. Because those changes will already have been made. So that's good. I mean, so some people they're not ready right away. And so I don't tell them, well, I can't give you any information because you haven't paid me. I don't do that. Right. If I can give them, like today on this call, I gave some information to people that might be life-saving for them. Right. And if they incorporate it. So like when I do little videos and stuff like that, I'm trying to give them some kind of little nugget of wisdom so that if they go, they can practice it right away. It'll help them right away. And then, I want them to leave with something that they can use. Right. And that's practical.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my goal is, I want to help people on little bits and pieces. Now, if you come and work with me, well, of course, you're going to learn a whole lot more, and it's going to be more involved and, that kind of thing. But my goal as a healthcare provider is to help you get healthier and to stay that way. I don't want you to just lose your weight and then a year later you got to come back and do it again because you gained it all back.
Right.
So I want to help you learn what is a healthy lifestyle? What does that look like? And it's not my idea of a healthy lifestyle, it's your idea of a healthy lifestyle. So,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about what you want and what your goals are. And then we go from there of how we can achieve that. So
But you got to be ready.
you have to be ready.
Right.
You have to be ready. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, my daughter's in college at Texas A&M.
Whoop,
You know,
whoop.
who'd have thought? That's right. And so anyway, she, for like, she was always saying, I don't know if I'll ever get married. I don't know if I ever have any kids, because she hadn't met anybody that was all that impressive, in that regard. I mean, she's met, she goes out on dates, she meets, she knows people and all this, and she's 21 and she hasn't really met Mr. Wonderful yet. And which is fine. And she's got plenty of time. But she's like, I don't know that I'll ever. I was like, yeah, you're just one of these days you're going to be ready. You're not ready right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wonderful may be right under your nose, but you don't know it because you're not ready right now. And that's okay. You don't need to feel like you have to be ready, So there's a lot of things like that in our lives that when somebody's starting a business, I mean, they think about it, what they want to do, and they're not ready really to jump out there yet. And then they finally get ready and then they do it.
Right.
So it's the same principle.
Yeah. Love it. Kelly, this has been fun. This has been a blast. I've learned so much.
And I talk too much. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It makes for a fun conversation, makes for a fun show. Next week, same time, Monday at 7 Central. Who do I have? Danielle Amy is going to be my guest. Danielle is a coach. I'm almost positive. I should have looked her up before I booked these a long time ago.
Well, this has been a blast. I've enjoyed it.
It has been a blast. Yes.
Talk and do whatever. And hopefully I was helpful to some people. We'll see.
Yeah. And if y'all aren't connected to her, go connect with her on LinkedIn. If you have any questions about nutrition or maybe joining her program or any of the things, hit her up. I know she'll be happy to have a chat with you.
Personalities. If you want to learn about personalities, I can help you.
Or personalities, right? Exactly. 100%. All right, y'all. It has been fun. It was good to be back, and we will see y'all next week at the same time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.